but that'll be active talk because sometimes it shuts down the computer, which is completely free. And that computer we've had inside tornadoes is designed to be able to survive dropping 3 stories. It's also ballistic tested, so I guess you can shoot a rifle at it and be totally fine. But Google Earth freezes it. Microsoft Excel does sometimes too. So we were intercepting that tornado at the same time as the dominator that just fizzled right in front of us, evaporated. This also shows the thickness nature of supercells. You can have one tornado roving out, the next will touch down further to the right. You get the timing perfectly. See, that was time. The air circulation getting organized.
They were perfect. It was perfect.
And this plane is designed to fly in high wind situations and carry a heavy payload. We had 8 parachute probes mounted on that thing and deployed with the remote control of your hand. We did a really nasty inflow here, probably 40-50 mile per hour inflow just above the ground. We had to go full throttle away from the tornado. Close to see what the parachute probe pop off the back. And that's just driving the inflow towards the circulation. And it also has onboard cameras and computer videos of the ground so they can see where they're flying. That's our location right in that road. See, this would be perfect to drop a big bomb on the stage too. We tried to shoot down our airplane in 2019 last year. Well, I was flying that couple hit myself or put in that pond, right? Thankfully, he's a better pilot. Well, I'll show you the Google Earth animation. You can see those probes as they're circulating around because they're recording data even as they're flying inside the plane. You can see it zigzag and they drop out and catch an updraft and rotate around toward the tornado. You can click on each one and see the temperature, moisture, and pressure that's collected at each individual time. And now I'll show you some pictures from 2010 season before we do the Google Earth animation. This is the tornado in northern South Dakota a little bit later on as it was starting to rope out. And those little white dots there are all softball-sized hailstones falling out of that side of the storm. This is at the time of the Minnesota tornado intercept. You mentioned that 200 mile per hour updraft. This is just after the main intercept. It starts to become more confused. But that's the following is right behind us. And they're on laptops tracking the parachute probes as they're circulating around the side of the tornado. And that's the same tornado blowing by the tip right there. It was kind of fun to be on the same tornado because we're in the middle of nowhere in northern Minnesota, and somebody looked up to see the tip headlights. It was cool as we were both trying to intercept the tornado. And my good friend, Brandon Ivey, the navigator for the tip, he's a great forecaster. Just had a feeling he'd be up there. And this is the same South Dakota tornado on May 22nd, looking to the east, and it shows that bright white collar cloud that's spinning around the tornado. And that's the remnant of the original wall cloud, or lower enclosed base storm that tightens up into the wedge tornado underneath it. And this is the tornado in eastern South Dakota on June 10th. And this is an LP supercell, or low precipitation. And you can see the skeleton basically of the supercell. You can see all the structure. And that tornado in the backside was broken out. That's the dry air that either generates the tornado or is associated with it, cuts it off in the main storm. You can see it's almost separated from the updraft. Then the new tornado is touching off to the left. So this is the predicament that we face for intercepting, is should we intercept the one that's broken out or positioned for the new circulation? Because a lot of times you'll commit that tornado occluding, as we call it, and it'll just vanish right before your eyes. In this case, there's no road out there, so it's one of those rare cases where we can just stand outside the vehicle and enjoy the supercell. And this is a lightning shot taken by President McGowan, and he's the guy that also drives the production vehicle, so that's why he got all those shots of us doing the intercept. Don't need a caption on this one, he caught me by surprise. And this is a tornado in northwest Oklahoma. The first video that I showed you where the tornado went right in front of the Dominator, this was at the same time, but in front of the southeast. So it shows how different they look when you're far away. And a lot of times they look relatively harmless when they're like that, but just because they're small doesn't mean they're weak. A lot of times the smallest tornadoes can be even more intense. And now I'll finish by showing you a video from South Dakota. It's from 2003, and it looks really similar to that tornado we saw in 2010 in South Dakota. And you can also see the horizontal vortex that's spinning around that tornado like a donut, and that shows that there's a lot of vertical motion inside that tornado. So not only do you have the horizontal wind, but there's incredible updraft to generate that horizontally rotating donut that spins around. And if you listen carefully, you'll hear in the back seat a friend of mine who is a graduate student from Switzerland, and this is his first and last storm chase. And we found out after that he had a history of panic attacks. Unfortunately, you'll hear panic as the tornado is approaching. But it was more of a delayed effect. It was after the tornado was really close. So you can see that horizontally rotating vortex that shows the upward motion inside the tornado.
Don't move, yes, not move.
And this is F4, and it's left those trees like skeletons. Really wish we had a Dominator back then. Would have had to put the car in reverse. This one's likely would have been too strong to intercept still. We have seen that even a tornado this beautiful can be really destructive. And the people in this house are in their basement taking shelter. They know the tornado is coming at us like 20 minutes. That's just on the outside of the circulation too, because it's a very powerful tornado. And there's an upward motion in there as well, all those gravity waves bouncing from the surface at the loft. And also, love chasing storms up in Canada. There's not many storm chases up there, but you get a lot of tornadoes. And this is one really strong one that we saw back in 2007. And we drove up there in a Hyundai Accent with a maximum speed of about 60 miles per hour. That sounded like a vacuum cleaner with no air conditioning. So it was an uncomfortable trip, but we made it up there in about 3 days and saw this tornado over bright yellow solar fields. I'll show you the video, but it hasn't been properly edited. And our plans for 2011 are to add air conditioning to the Dominator. Last year it died, so it's about 130 degrees in the vehicle, which isn't a bad thing, because then we can sweat out all the energy drinks and gas station burritos at the end of the road. We're going to be designing a second Dominator this winter. It's shaped more like a flying saucer. It has rounded edges. It'll be built on a Yukon XL, and it's a little bit bigger. We'll we'll take all the negatives that we learned from Village Dominator 1 and apply that to Dominator 2 so it can withstand stronger tornadoes. So the plan is to deploy both of them in the field, and one intercepts the tornado, the other one is just on the outside to measure the difference in the data between the two. And we're also thinking about doing flips instead of parachute probes to get a little bit of positive buoyancy, so we can release these by hand or deploy them from the vehicle so they'll sail right into the tornado. And now I'll show you that really quickly before we end. I'll show you that Google Earth animation. I'll just step down here. This could be disastrous, but it's worth it like it's worth. This will show the parachute probes flying around inside the tornado. All right, keep your fingers crossed. Zooming into southern Nebraska weather. That always happens. Not very good at this, so we'll get it done. I'm going to zoom in a little further. So you can click on any of these probes, and then that shows the data, temperature, the pressure, vertical velocity, and all kinds of things at the rate of 5 times per second. And if you zoom out, it'll show you the animation as you're going around in a circle. So that says they're in the aircraft, and then you'll see them get dropped out, still on the airplane. That's when they get dropped out, it's going to go right. And then they get sucked up by the updraft and wrap around in circulation and then fall to the ground. You can look at it at any given time, click on any of these probes and show the data it's reflecting. Wow. So the ideal intercept would be to have our radar measuring vertical wind, our anemometer measuring horizontal wind, and have these probes flying around inside the tornado and also around it to create a 3D X-ray of the tornado. So thank you so much for coming out. I know the roads were really bad. This talk was University of Texas, so it was declined for sure. So we have a future for you back. I hope Nebraska just rolls the Big Ten next year. I'm sure you will. So I'll take some questions really quick now, and then also have a meet and greet afterward. And if you'd like, Damon? Yeah, if you'd like to go outside afterward and hit the Dominator for a birthday present, yes you can. Looks like an igloo right now, but.
Yeah, the family, right?
Any questions? Said how much does the vehicle weigh? It weighs about 8,300 pounds without people in it. So it's not really designed so much to be really heavy. It's more shaped aerodynamically. It has a downward force right down there.
I've always wondered why you wear sandals as opposed to like shoes covering your feet.
Well, a lot of times I never have, well, all the time I don't have clean socks except for the first chase of the season. I've been doing it for 13 years. It's always worn sandals. I think it's kind of a free feeling when you get out of bed and just put sandals on and don't have to worry about socks. But nobody ever said anything until the last 2 years. But I'm going to wear shoes, I think, next year, some kind of hybrid. Because during Thanksgiving this year, I was chasing a storm and stepped out of the car and was looking at a wall cloud and stepped in a hole that had a broken pipe and cut my ankle pretty bad. So I think it's smart to wear shoes.
I was just